My way of making it fun is actually to not have my slides match the presentation that I'm going to talk about. So, Datamanager Darryl worked at one of the top healthcare companies in the world. He was very proud of the massive amount of data that he had collected over the years. He had lots of different types of data too. Records of hospital visits, diagnoses, test results, DNA, the list went on and on. The database was so big, there was probably even information about all of his neighbors in there. Darryl knew that there was lots of value in his data, but he didn't quite know what to do with it. Then, one day, researcher Ronnie knocked on Datamanager Darryl's door and said, "I know you have a lot of data, and I need it." Darryl was excited to hear that researcher Ronnie wanted to use his data. In fact, he was so excited that he was ready to hand it over to researcher Ronnie right then and there. So they made plans to discuss how they were going to prepare the data over lunch. Today's special, succotash. Later in the lunchroom, Data Manager Darryl's old friend, General Counsel Jasmine, came over and sat down. "Hey guys, what's up?" she said. Data Manager Darryl introduced his pal, General Counsel Jasmine, to researcher Ronnie, and he told her about their plans to distribute all of this amazing health data to researchers across the country. General Counsel Jasmine dropped her fork and exclaimed, "Suffering succotash, you can't do that." Darryl and Ronnie looked at each other confused and responded in unison, "Why not? Did you think we weren't going to mask it?" Jasmine shook her head and said, "I hate to break it to you guys, but what we now know, masking's not good enough. You can't just remove names and hash some fields." Jasmine continued to explain how Darryl could probably guess at which records belonged to his neighbors if the information was in his database, and also how masking reduces the utility of the data anyway. Darryl and Ronnie looked at each other dumbfounded because they hadn't realized that data like that was easy to identify. Jasmine continued, "Plus, what about that sensitive patient data on mental health, genetics, children?" Darryl and Ronnie's hearts sank. Jasmine told Darryl and Ronnie about all of the laws and rules they had to follow and outlined all of the nasty things that could happen to the company if they released data that someone could re-identify. "We could get sued, and we'd have to pay out breach penalties," she explained. Releasing identifiable data is like being the creepy guy at a party that everyone wants to avoid, and we don't want to be him. Poor Darryl envisioned the data just sitting there wasting away, locked in the dark, forever. And Ronnie imagined the disappointed faces of the other researchers when he had to tell them they didn't have any data to use. Crushed, Darryl and Ronnie started thinking their plans were completely dashed, and about how complicated everything now seemed. That's the creepy guy. Seeing their dejected faces, Jasmine said, "Wait, I didn't mean to give you the wrong idea. There's a solution." And then Jasmine gave Darryl and Ronnie the lowdown on the HIPAA privacy rule statistical method and how, by using it, they could protect individual privacy while still unlocking the potential of their valuable data. "Yes," she said, "I think what you're planning to do is important, and I'm here to support you." Incredulous, Darryl and Ronnie asked Jasmine more questions about the statistical method, and she explained how it was a better alternative to safe harbor and masking because not only did it protect the company, it also allowed them to release more data. "But who? How?" said Darryl. "I don't have time to learn all of these things." Excitedly, Jasmine told them about a company that could help them. "And the best part is they do it for us," she said. In unison, Darryl and Ronnie asked, "But how is it possible?" "Well, it's really simple. They ask us what we want to do. They use their software product to de-identify our data. They certify that the data will meet regulations. Then they give us an encrypted specification, which is like a button that Darryl presses every time Ronnie needs data." Darryl explained, "Wow, is it that simple?" "Yes, it sure is," replied Jasmine. "That's why they're a Strata Startup Showcase finalist." "So, all I have to do is install it and keep adding to my database," said Darryl, "and we won't get sued or be the creepy guy?" "Yes," Jasmine explained, "you got it. You just run the specification on the new information, and Ronnie can continue to get the latest data for his research, and I get a defensible audit trail, and we all sleep at night. It's a win-win-win for everyone." "Wow," said Ronnie. "This is the best day ever. Succotash for lunch, access to Darryl's data, and smiling at Jasmine, a new friend too." The end.